Hello, we are Tim and Shannon, and along with our beloved 1995 Range Rover Classic Reggie, we are Planet Overland. We would like to welcome you back to our Vietnam video series. If you missed the first one, we'll link it up in the corner here. As a quick recap, we landed in Saigon, visited the Independence Palace and War Museum, traveled by bus to the Mekong Delta where we stayed in a grass hut, visited the floating markets of Can Thô. We learned how rice paper is made, and I attempted to wrap roots for hydroponic plants. Now we are back in Saigon, but first, let's take a look at some interesting facts about Vietnam. The Socialist Republic of Vietnam shipped an estimated $304 billion worth of goods around the globe in 2019. That amount reflects an 87% gain since just 2015. Phone system devices, including smartphones, are Vietnam's most valuable exported product. And now, let's return to our personal Vietnam journey. Some of you may not know that Shannon, as well as her sister and brother, were adopted by Shannon's parents when they were little. James was in an orphanage and was evacuated along with about 3,000 other children from South Vietnam at the end of the Vietnam War in what was termed Operation Baby Lift. Although there is now some controversy over Operation Baby Lift, the individuals involved, from President Ford to military men and women, government workers, orphanage staff, volunteers, and the businessman who used his own money to charter a plane, thought they were doing the right thing by these refugees and children that were evacuated. This backstory will help you understand why we reached out to the manager of our hotel to visit an orphanage. After a few phone calls, however, we all realized that you can't just show up to one of these government-run facilities. Finally, we reached a manager who said that if we were kind people, we could visit the next day, and so everybody in the hotel agreed to a joint donation. Due to the initial resistance, we weren't sure what to expect, but when we showed up, we found a clean, well-run orphanage with voluntary caregivers that seemed extremely compassionate to the needs of the children, handicapped or otherwise. After a tour, they gathered a classroom of children together so that we could give them juice boxes and they could sing us a song. Although unfortunately, I did not get that on video. It was both heartbreaking and heartwarming, as orphanages can be, and afterwards the staff sat us down and gave us tea and apple slices and asked for a group picture. That evening, we were meant to catch a sleeper bus to Nha Trang. However, we walked and never found the teeny bus station, so we had to spend the night in a sleazy motel, which did not accept prostitutes. The next morning, we did manage to find a main bus station, and we hopped on a bus to Nha Trang. Stayed at the Hoi Hotel, but at 4 a.m. we woke the sleeping hotel attendant so we could check out, and then we hit the train station to travel to Da Nang. We had booked the top 2 bunks in a 4-person room, and there was a nice step that allowed you to get up and down without stepping on the lower person's bunk. We arrived in Da Nang after dark, and we could immediately see that this place was more like a Las Vegas than like what we would think traditional Vietnam City would be.
Look at that hotel over there doing the rainbow stripes.
Also, our couch surfer host had backed out, so we had nowhere to stay. After a brief discussion with the taxi driver, we decided to just taxi to Hoi An, which was the next stop on our itinerary. We were dropped off at the Hoi An homestay in the middle of a torrential deluge. However, we did manage to run across the street in ankle-high water to eat at the restaurant there. Hoi An is a city on the Vietnam coastline known for its well-preserved and well-decorated ancient town, cut through with canals. One of Vietnam's iconic attractions is Hoi An's Japanese covered bridge, which was constructed in the 1590s. For those of you not familiar with Hoi An, it's an extremely beautiful and photogenic city, and so Tim was in heaven taking all kinds of fancy photographs. For our second day in Hoi An, we had booked a car to take us to the My Son Cham historical ruins, a few hours outside of the city. The My Son Sanctuary is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, which was constructed between the 4th and 13th centuries as a unique culture which owed its spiritual origins to Indian Hinduism. This site was the religious and political capital of the Champa Kingdom for most of its existence. The tower temples were constructed over 10 centuries of continuous development under the influence of the Indian subcontinent. Many temples were built to the Hindu divinities such as Krishna and Vishnu, but above all, at this location, to Shiva. Although Mahayan Buddhism penetrated the Cham culture later, Shivite Hinduism remained the established state religion for many centuries. Efforts to restore this precious cultural heritage site to its former glory continue. Not only has the vast site been overtaken by the jungle, but there has also been damage from various wars, and there are unexploded ordnances in the surrounding areas that need to be cleared. And then we met Temple Dog. We returned to Hoi An early enough to find a great coffee shop, and then in the evening we took another walk around the town to see it with its beautiful lights.
Is that what that was? Awesome. Now there's a good rain coming. Might get rained out.
Our third day in Hoi An saw us splitting up, with Shannon getting on a boat to go snorkeling, and Tim, well, I'll let you see for yourself what Tim got up to. During Shannon's boat ride back to Hoi An, we came across a disabled ship. The captain ordered that the ship be hooked to us with a rope, which promptly snapped, so they were scurrying around trying to find a sturdier rope, which they eventually got hooked up, and we towed the boat back with us. After a traditional Vietnamese massage, our time in Hoi An comes to an end. Thank you so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed this second video in our Vietnam video series. We hope you join us next week for our third video, where we get up to more Vietnam fun, including a visit to the DMZ and the Vinh Moc tunnels.